is through the universe, the whole universe. It's like you took a bottle of ink and threw it at a wall and it smashed. And all of that ink spread all over the wall. And in the middle, it's really dense. And as it gets out to the edge, little droplets get finer and finer, and they make more complicated patterns. So in the same way, there is a big bang at the beginning of things, and it's spread. Any of you and I sitting here in this room as complicated human beings are way, way out on the fringe of that bang. We are the complicated little patterns on the end of it. It's very interesting to think about that we define ourselves only as being that. If you think you are only the inside your skin, if you think you're only inside your skin, you define yourself as one very complicated little curl way out at the edge of that explosion, way out in space and way out in time. Billions of years ago, you were a big bang. But now you're a complicated human being. And when we cut ourselves off and don't feel that we're still the big bang, but you are. Depends how you define yourself. You are actually, if this is the way things started, if there was a big bang in the beginning, you're not something that's a result of the big bang. You're not something that is sort of a puppet at the end of the process. You are still the process. You are the Big Bang, the original force of the universe, coming on as whoever you are right now in this moment. So when I meet you and you say your name, I see you as one of the primordial energy of the universe coming on at me as the way you describe yourself in this particular way. I know that I am that too. We are that primordial energy, that divineness from the very beginning. But we've learned to define ourselves as separate from it. If we take that premise from Alan Watts, we can start to define healing as not defining ourselves as separate. We are not separate. That we allow that we are that actual energy, that actual love from the very start of everything, and recognize that that may fill and guide us through any situation, whether that's the physical situation, mental, emotional, spiritual, relationship, finances, on and on and on and on and on. Because sometimes we also don't recognize that all of those instances of our human existence may be filled with healing. And again, that definition of healing is allowing that love, allowing that primordial energy that is us already to fill the situation. We all try in this idea of being separate, because, we feel it. We feel separate. And when we do that, when we recognize that over everything else, we try to find the best advice, the best pill, the best doctor, the best diet, the best book, the best spiritual teacher, the best therapist, on and on. We try to find that formula that's going to equal healing. We fall into the fear that we are separate. We fear all kinds of things. We say things like, why do bad things happen to good people? And without recognizing that we are all good people. It's how we're interpreting our existence that shifts our awareness on whether we are the good people or not. All of life is this blessing of experience, a total blessing of experience. And no matter what the experience is, it is a blessing. We don't recognize it for ourselves. It is definitely a blessing for those around us. To know, to have more information, to recognize another perspective. I mean, if we take some of the big tragedies of the world, the wars, the genocides, you know, and we look at those and we're like, why? Why? And yet in there, there are things for us to know and learn. There are blessings within that mess, within whatever those souls said, you know what, I will honor my experience, whether I recognize what's going on in my human form or not. My soul will recognize I'm honoring that experience as a blessing for everyone and everywhere, and to allow that experience to be interpreted in a way that it brings love in the present and in the future. So maybe those things we can recognize how to treat each other, how to talk, how to get along, to have faith. This is another Alan Watts quote. To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water, because if you do, you will sink and drown. Instead, you relax and you float. You enjoy the experience. And if you're not enjoying, you at least be grateful for the experience, and know and trust that in that we are allowing healing to flow. We get so caught up sometimes on healing equaling some kind of said cure, or healing equaling some kind of outcome that we have perceived. And yet when we trust the experience and we trust our own power in that experience, we can recognize the love flowing and the gratitude going in every experience. And that's where the healing is. Stephen Levine says healing is meeting at the edge of that separation. It's recognizing that the heart draws on the method that it most needs for that healing. Again, that depends on the situation. So maybe the method is we're going to find the right therapist for us. Maybe the method is a certain way of healing, whether we consider that a medical way of healing or an alternate way of healing or whatever words we're using. Our heart recognizes that that is what we can attach to, align with, be with, and practice with. And that heart connection is what heals. It's that what brings love into the situation. It's trusting the process of our heart's intuition. Are we listening to what our heart is saying and actually trusting it? Or are we second guessing it because the book says that we need to do something else? Or our doctor says that pill is supposed to work. So then you need to keep taking it, even though it's making you sleep 12 hours a day and not making you feel better. And that's actually something that's happening to a friend of mine right now. You know, they don't know exactly. She's undiagnosed, but she knows she's super weak, has losing weight, and is really tired. And the medicine that was offered first didn't work well with her body. And she's like, I can't do this. It's not what it is. This is not it. And her search continues. But also the fear with that also continues, because the first place that she went did not help her align with what she needed. It was a very stressful experience. So do we have the courage and the strength within that grace that we all have from that very big bang moment? Do we grasp onto that so that we can be led to a place of no fear in the experience? no matter what that is. And even if somebody else with the same diagnosis is doing something totally different, but it's working for them, do we honor that space with them? Because the other thing we find, and this is from, I'll give you the source, Dr. Michael Beckwith, who runs the Agape International Spiritual Center. He relays when he works with people, he also works with the people around them. Because if they are in fear and they are always telling somebody that they are doing the wrong thing, that wears down the resolve of the person that has decided, right? So it's the idea of bringing the whole group together and to support each other in that decision process, whatever it is. I know when my grandfather was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, he decided, no treatment, thank you. Whatever time I have left, and he was in his 80s at the time, so I think people respected his decision more than maybe they would have if he was in his 60s, right? But he said, no, thank you. I don't want that kind of evasiveness. I want to spend quality, whatever my quality is, in this amount of time that I've left. And his time left was about 6 weeks, at least from the time I found out. And yet, for him, I really feel in everything that was the total right thing, because he had 2 big family parties. People came to his place and stayed with him. You know, it was like, and that's how he always lived, was like a party around him. So it was perfect for him. And what was also perfect is I don't remember hearing one person around him saying, man, you were being just so dumb choosing that, you know? So there was this support emotionally for the decision. And it was very, very beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. And the love that was brought into that situation, I know that it was healed. Now, he didn't live another 5 years or whatever, you know, but the healing wasn't that. The healing was the calmness and the family time and the acceptance of everybody. And isn't that what we want for each other, no matter what we're going through? So to know that that person has followed their heart with their choice, and we bring that love into it. And even for the support mechanism, to give more space for that love, that recognition that our internal awareness and our knowledge and our power is bigger than everything else that we may see around us. That we are the Big Bang. And it doesn't get any better than that, right? It doesn't get any better than that. Moving forward into next week, I want to give you a little precursor because it fits in here now. That the idea of gratitude and forgiveness and daily practices help us reach this space on a more regular basis, and to bring the love into our lives. So we're not, in a moment of crisis, we're not reaching for a practice. We've established that gratitude and forgiveness is that baseline, that building block for all of the rest of that love that we can experience. And really in that attitude of gratitude more than anything else. So that's where we're headed next week in terms of practice of this idea of bringing love into the healing. But even despite that, no matter what, it's your own personal feeling within whatever practice you're doing. And to keep that as a daily or a weekly thing, whatever your own personal spiritual practice rituals are, right? And in this building, we recognize that we get to build our own and feel it. So whatever that is for you, the idea is to hold on to that and to practice it, but not to do it because it's a have to, but doing it because we feel with it and we acknowledge that it allows us to recognize that power and to be with that power that fills the universe always. And again, a building block so that we can dispel fear and lean into healing, knowing that healing is bringing love into this experience always.